lots of time zones. I know Sophie is in the UK, so we're coming in from all different times. All right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about TKS and what we're focusing on today, which is our online intensive. Although I have invited some folks here who are just interested in the studio in general, or maybe considering Megan's class in person. So all are welcome, but we will be focusing primarily today on the online intensive. Terry Knickerbocker Studio is primarily a 2-year conservatory program, acting conservatory program in Brooklyn, New York. And as of last year, we began we premiered, is that the right word? Premiered our online intensive. We did a lot of online work during the pandemic, very successfully, surprisingly. I think a lot of people were nervous. They were like, how do acting classes work online? But you'll learn today with we have some of our friends who are about to finish a full year online or a full year of the work online. They will share, how it felt for them. And we learned during the pandemic that the first year of the Meisner work, which Megan will get a little bit into soon, works really well online. So after popular demand, we've brought it back in 2025, or I guess, yeah, 2025. And we're going to continue it next year. So hopefully some of y'all are here to learn more about that. And that intensive level 1 is going to start, most likely going to start September 2nd. We may be pushing it back 1 week. But the hope is September 2nd, if we can everyone's traveling in August and like logged off. So it's a weird time. But that is the goal. And it's going to meet twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays from 12 to 2. And then if you love it and you're like, wow, I must continue on with this, we have levels 2 and 3 of the online intensive as well. The full 3 levels of the intensive equal, like I said earlier, the first year of the Meisner work, which is about 64 classes. The whole Meisner progression is 128 classes. And then if you're like, okay, I've done the year online, I must do more, you can join us in person at Terry Knickerbocker Studio in Brooklyn to complete your second year. So that's kind of the trajectory of the online intensive and what we're looking at. And if you want to just do level 1, that's cool. You can start with that with 18 classes. But if you know you want to commit to the whole thing, you will save a nice chunk of change by committing to all 3 levels. And either is great. The other cool thing is if you do an in-person intensive with us, which is the same exact thing as a level 1 online, you can join the levels 2 and 3 online as well. Does that make any sense? Are you guys with me? I feel like sometimes I'm saying words and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. But that's the gist of it. So here's how it's going to work today. I'm going to ask some questions to the folks in the room, have them introduce themselves. Then we're going to see if you guys have any questions. We'll do a little bit of a repetition exercise. And then I have a special incentive just for you guys for coming to this webinar that I will share. So to get us started, I'd love for the folks who are here from TKS to take a second to introduce themselves, names, pronouns, and where you are in the world, and then what is your relationship to TKS. So I'll throw the ball around and I'll start with Megan.
Hi, you all. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Meghan Mulcahy. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a Meisner practitioner. So I teach the Meisner technique at Terry Knickerbocker Studio, as well as at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. And then I am also an actor and a director.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Megan. And I'll pass it next to Isabella.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabella Minter. I use she, her pronouns. Similar to Megan, I am also finishing up my observation period with the Meisner work at Terry Knickerbocker Studio. So I will be beginning my practicing in the fall. And yeah, I am also an actor. I currently am the associate director of a small theater company based here in New York, where I am based. And yeah, thank you all for being here. It's so lovely to see so many faces.
Thank you, Isabella. And Isabella will be teaching a second level 1 of our online intensive later in October. So that's not announced on our website yet, but if someone is not able to start so soon but still interested, that will be available later on. Beautiful. And I will pass it next to Sophie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sophie Corner. I'm based in London in the UK. And I've been doing the intensive online Meisner training with TKS since April. Is that right? Maybe? Since April. I'm not good with dates. So it's been, yeah, really cool. We're nearly at the end of year one, and hopefully I'll continue my journey with TKS as well. But yeah, it's been awesome. So ask away questions and stuff. But yeah, excited to chat to you all about it.
Thanks, Sophie. Yeah, I think it was March, but the reason we were able to condense the year so much for this group is because they met 3 times a week, which is intense and great. But we've decided to make it less intense by putting it back to the 2 times a week, which is what our normal in-person intensives are in the fall and spring. So just if people are like doing the math and they're like, wait, how did they do the full first year that quickly? That is how. Brea.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brea Marshall. I do use she, her pronouns. I am located in Las Vegas, Nevada. As well as like Sophie, I've been with training with Megan and TKS since March, doing the online intensive. I am an actress and a writer, and I have been having a blast. So I'm excited to speak to you all about this today.
Thanks, Freya. And last but not least, Angeline.
Hi, friends. I'm Angeline, she, her pronouns. I'm located in Brooklyn, New York. I'm the marketing manager. Um, I always say that I don't want to be an actor, but I want to go through this actor training because all these open houses have sold me. Megan's lovely, Terry's lovely, Isabella's lovely. So I'm glad you all get to learn a little bit more about them today.
Thanks, Angeline. Amazing. And I introduced myself, right? I know some people came in late, so if you did, I'll just say it one more time. I'm Marina Dunnington, she, her. I did not introduce myself. I'm realizing as I say things. I'm the director of admissions and operations at TKS. So many of you, I've already spoken to you and have invited you to this. If I have not spoken to you yet, I hope to. You can always book a conversation with me or my assistant Gracie if you want to have a shorter conversation on our website. And yeah, I'm just super excited to be sharing this program with you. So without further ado, I'm going to get into some questions. I'd love to start with Megan. If you could tell us a little bit about what happens in this online intensive, primarily focusing on level one, but also considering the full trajectory to start. Yeah.
So, um, the as Marina was talking about, the online intensive series of intensives covers the first year of a 2-year Meisner progression, where the full first year is focused on essentially like creating and honing an actor's instrument. Um, so your actor's ability to tell all the stories, play all the parts, kind of under what a lot of you might recognize as kind of a foundational belief about acting, which is that the best acting is experienced truthfully in the moment, like lived through truthfully under imaginary circumstances, as opposed to kind of indicated, or the most exciting acting, at least, and often kind of enticing but elusive acting happens that way. So Meisner focuses the first year on how do you develop an instrument that is capable of such a skill. I mean, and such a feat, that I say that because it still kind of like amazes me. um to use another analogy, it's like if we kind of go with that idea that the best acting is not about pretending to be another person or pretending to be living inside another experience. It's about really experiencing that using your human empathy and your creative imagination. Then really ultimately, by the time we get to playing characters and telling other stories from scripts and plays and such, then ultimately, like, every character you ever play is going to be kind of a self-portrait. So that comes in the second year, teasing that a little bit, but the reason I bring that up is because the first year is, if second year is about how do I kind of create those portraits of other people and other experiences that are not my own, or that don't resonate with the way that I operate and what my points of view are about the world. The first year is about how do I get all the colors on my palette so that they're all accessible to me when the moment arrives, when I need to be able to use them in an artistic, skillful, imaginative way. We've divided up the online intensive into these 3 units, essentially, which each of which kind of addresses a different aspect of that, and they're progressive in that we start with this very simple exercise that you'll get to see a little bit of today, and then as the work goes on, it blossoms into something that ultimately doesn't feel like an acting exercise. It's kind of an improvisational way of living out really full imaginary circumstances, using relationships and deep meanings and your emotional life and things like that. So also really important to that process is this idea that we kind of start at the beginning, meaning it's really common for actors, and this was true of me also, like you kind of fall in love with acting because you get to do it and you get to have a script in your hand and take on a character and sort of taste what that is like. And yet when we actually train, so often I think we kind of eschew the basics for just being like, oh yeah, give them, put a script in their hand, they'll figure it out. And so you get up in an acting in a training environment and they're like, do Shakespeare, do Chekhov. And as exciting as that can be, often actors feel like, well, how do I do that? Or I had a really good rehearsal or some really good moments, but how do I replicate those? So this technique in large part is about concretizing what are like those most foundational elements necessary for good acting to happen and for you to have an experience in the moment. So we start with this idea of truthfully listening and responding, being able not to pretend that you're not to pretend to be doing something, but to really be doing something truthfully, in a way that requires you as an actor to work on your presence, like your ability to be present as you are in every moment with a scene partner. Acting happens between people, so on a more technical note, all of this work will happen between people, meaning you'll have an acting partner that you'll do your rehearsals with, and then you'll bring in your in-class rehearsals with. So losing my train of thought on that, I got excited about listening and responding, but yeah, so that's where we begin, is with that skill of working unanticipated moment to unanticipated moment, listening and responding, which is so simple, but not easy necessarily. Brea's making a face because she knows that it's not easy. And around that, we start to dose in, how do I come alive to imaginary circumstances and still maintain that kind of contact improvisationally in a way that's totally improvisational. So the first year, by and large, is improvisational, meaning we're not working with text and we're not working with crafted circumstances, but not given text that tells you how every moment's going to play out. But our exercise, which really it kind of is that, it is like going to the gym for you as the actor. It is an exercise in your ability to be in contact with another person and your ability to put yourself up against your imagination, to craft something that is like reliable enough, repeatable enough that you can do work off of time and time again. So that takes up the majority of level 1, is building that skill, and then ultimately it will culminate in a scene, which is each of our levels, and this is the end of level 1, will culminate in like a bit of scene work, which is really it's kind of a unique way of doing scene work. It's an opportunity to we're practicing all the skills that we're practicing in the work otherwise, namely putting aside performative habits and the need to sort of put on or indicate an experience, but offering that you'll probably surprise yourself what a rich and truthful experience you can have if you really put your attention on your partner and on that skill of listening and responding moment to moment. And so at the end of level 1, we get a really exciting foray into what that's like.
Thank you so much, Megan. And you kind of answered my next question as well, which is about why Meisner? Why do you love, or like, I don't know, I don't want to assume you love it, but why do you like teaching Meisner? I know you at least like it. But I think you said something before about how many acting classes they start you off. Terry always tells the story about his first day of acting class at NYU. He was given Streetcar Named Desire, and he was like, "Oh, okay. I think I know how to do this," but he really didn't, because if you don't have the foundation, the building blocks, like, you can have really good instincts, and that's great. And like, obviously having good instincts is important. But it's not, that's like saying, like, as a dentist, like, having good instincts is important. But if you think you could do it, just go and do it. No, you want your dentist to have gone to dentist school and like know how to do the work. So I think that's really critical. I wonder, before I move on to my other questions, if there's anything else you want to say about why Meisner, why is this work so beneficial in your opinion?
Hmm. That's all true. And just to, uh, you said that thing about having good instincts,
Mhm.
and that is also so important in that uh, this work, I think, I have found in my years of doing it and playing around with other techniques or other ways of talking about acting, that this threads such a, or I should say, like, create such an interesting kind of thread of, forgive me if this sounds a little weird. My roommate who did Meisner with me like a decade ago, and we're still the best of friends because, right, really because of that, would talk about like the red and the blue, meaning the red being the stuff that you can really rely on and feels really straightforward and just kind of like this plus this equals that. And then the blue, which is that thing about acting that is more instinctual and more experiential and sometimes a little hard to pin down, but it's kind of where the magic comes from. And I found that Meisner creates a really exciting blend of those two things, in that it's a technique and it's progressive, and that we can talk about how one element leads into another, uh, and why that is. It's very deliberate, um, and that's part of what I like giving to actors, or really just sort of offering to them and helping them kind of cultivate that for themselves, is like, what does it mean to have a reliable foundation for the sake of your sustainable practice, your mental health, like your ability to like go in and be like, I know what I'm doing here. um and then the other part of it, which is, there's that, but there's also, I have that thing that drew me to want to be in the arts in the first place. I have my actor's instincts and my creative imagination and my ability to kind of get worked on by imaginary circumstances, and that's an essential part of the technique. So they weave kind of in and out of each other, which I find to be um kind of fueling and very helpful just on a practical level.
Yeah.
um I would also say that I find the reason I like teaching it, is really the same reason I loved studying it. Was it has such a way of um, kind of revealing or clarifying every actor's individuality and their humanity. And like, I had Sophie and Brea in class just this morning, and like, but I've seen so many exercises, and yet I saw them each do an exercise I'd never seen before, like it has such a way of, um instead of like putting everybody kind of in a box, sort of helping you find your own individual um, expression, and that's really exciting. Especially as actors, when we live in a culture that's so kind of commodifying and saying, I have to know what my type is, and I have to look this way and act this way and compete against these people. I really appreciate how the technique takes such a generous view of what we as actors are interested in and capable of.
I love that. Yeah. So I think Meisner is so expansive, and I
Mm.
love that, like, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, like, as an actor. Maybe you've never acted in your life, or maybe you have 5 Oscars. Everyone starts at the beginning, and it's useful for you regardless of, how experienced you are. So I think that is a really beautiful explanation. Thank you so much, Megan. Now I'm going to interrogate your students. And I'd love to hear from you two, Brea and Sophie, if you could talk a little bit about what you've gained in the intensive. I know you have 2 weeks left of level 3, so you're almost at the end, which is crazy. But yeah, tell us about what you've gained so far and what do you feel has changed about your work or how you approach acting since you've begun this work. And I'm just going to spotlight you two now. Um, oh,
Oh,
where's Brea? So you'll both be there together in the spotlight. Whoever
oh.
wants to begin may begin.
Great. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go? You want me to go?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can go.
I think, I mean, I could talk about TKS and Meisner and Megan for like literal years. So Marina, please stop me. Um, and I kind of fell into it. Like it just kind of landed on my lap. And I think it landed at such a really beautiful time for me as an actor and as an artist, as a creative. I'm very fortunate that acting is my main job, I suppose, and creating work and things. But I think I've said it to Megan and I've said it to Brea and the rest of them. Like it always felt like similar to what Megan was saying, like I could put on a jacket and I could be a character and I could be that person and I could do my job well and people would be like, cool, job done, great, got it on tape, you're good. But I felt like I was missing something, like something was missing, something just wasn't there. And I felt a bit like I always say this to myself, like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. Is it the one with the heart? Like I'm just like, what is the core? And it's been really beautiful over this process to feel like I've hopefully Megan developed some kind of like core, like I understand a bit more about myself and this like and bringing myself to the work rather than a character, which is really interesting. And going through all of these, like it's been so fun. Like what do you want to play with today? Megan always says this. What do you want to play with today? What do you want to lean into? Do you want to lean into like anger? Do you want to lean into like joy? Do you want to lean into like flirtation? Like what do you want to do? And it's been beautiful to kind of evolve from that. And obviously through the levels you learn so much, and I feel like my brain's expanded so much and we're constantly all texting each other like that's an activity. And it's been, yeah, amazing to like be with great people, and Megan's been such a brilliant director and teacher. And yeah, there's I could literally honestly met Maria like literally talk about it forever.
Well, I'm going to ask
um,
you about Megan soon, so don't worry, you'll have a
right.
chance.
But I think the one example that I would say is a really good example of how it has evolved my acting is, and I've said this to Megan before, I've had a monologue that I've used for 4 years in one of my jobs where it's the same monologue. I can swap it out and change it ever so often, but and obviously it's quite an emotive monologue and it became very like I've done this so many times, and I was getting like internal like analysis with the work going maybe this isn't working for me, maybe Meisner's not my thing, maybe and we you will go through that like we all do, we're actors and humans. And then one day I went into work and I did my monologue and then something just went and the whole piece changed, and I really felt it and I felt part of it. And then I came back and I think I was on maybe on FaceTime to Brea in fact, and I was like, Brea, this thing has expanded me. So I think that's a good example of just how it has changed on a specific example, but I think it's just been, yeah, really a beautiful toolkit and has really evolved me as a human. So yeah, would highly recommend.
All of that. It's very useful. Brea, what would you like to share?
Yeah, man, I have this was my kind of second go around with the Meisner technique. I learned some information initially in a scene study class. But this here, it really developed my foundation as an actor. With the training and with the technique, I really have a solid foundation now. And it helps me to approach, looking at not just me as an actor, me as a creative, me as a person, like really learning how to express my point of view and learning more about myself. I think, at least, especially with the first year, I've always told people that acting has led me on a journey of not only healing, but also just learning myself and loving me more for what perspectives and point of views that I have. So I think the most important thing I've grasped in this time period is just a great solid foundation to build from. Not to say that my foundation wasn't good, but it didn't have the good cemented foundation and structure to build a nice house on. And now I feel like with TKS, I have that. So that itself is what I've grasped the most from this, on top of just learning more about human behavior and tapping into my perspective on things, as well as becoming more creative and going past the social norms of what an activity or a point of view or perspective can be, really digging deep and really feeling what your point of view could be or is in those moments of rehearsal. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, grasped a lot. I had a lot of fun. So I'm excited um, to just see where this goes and how far it can take me. But it definitely is something that you have to do the work. It's not something you can just learn and not really, do go anywhere with it. You have to put in the man hours to do the work.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Brea. I think a lot of people think like, oh, an online class, I'll just show up. And I think this is a little bit different than that. They're shaking their heads adamantly because there are rehearsals involved. They are on Zoom, but they're still rehearsals. And there's a lot of preparation and there's a lot of mental preparation. I mean, our in-person students, I have some who have very long commutes. Like some of them come in from Connecticut, so it's a couple hours, and they're like, I love my train time because I'm doing all of my daydreaming then. Daydreaming is a big part of Meisner, and they're just thinking about like what other activities can I do, and an activity we won't get super into it today, but that's a big building activities. It's a big part of the first year of the work. And I think you need to be someone who is really dedicated to this for this program to do anything for you. If you're kind of coming into it being like, yeah, I'll show up when I feel like it, and I'll bring in 50%, you won't get much out of it. So I think that's a really good point, Brea, that it's the kind of thing you really need to put the time, the man hours into, or woman hours, or person hours, to make it work. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd love to very briefly, so we can ask some questions to the folks here, if you could just tell us a little bit, both of you, about what it's been like working with Meghan specifically. Meghan, you get to hear this now. You get to hear some compliments, maybe some insults. We'll see what they say. Um, yeah, Brea, if you want to start, what's it
Yeah,
been like for
for
you?
sure. Working with Megan has been truly amazing and eye-opening. I feel like she's helped me tap into myself more, and expand, like I said, expand my creativity, and she pushes me. Like I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if you all have experienced, going to the classes where, especially scene study classes, where you do the scene, you knock it out the park, and then that's kind of it. There was no kind of like notes to help you grow. But with Megan, it's like I'm always learning more and expanding more. And I like that she pushes me and challenges my thought and my perspective more, because it just helps me as a creative and gives me different perspectives to think about things. So Megan is amazing. I have enjoyed every moment, every giggle that I've had with her. It's been great. It's been great.
The
Awesome.
beauty of Zoom is that sometimes I just look and Brea's on mute in the corner, but I see her just laughing to herself about what's
I love
happening.
that. I can sometimes Megan teaches in the room next to me when she's in person in the studio, and I just hear like uproarious laughter. So I love all the joy that comes out of the work, the joy and the pain. I've heard tears too. The chat, like, but I think that the work sometimes requires big feelings, or big, not requires, but that's just naturally what comes up. So I love it all. Thank you so much for sharing that, Brea. Sophie, what would you like to say?
I was felt like I was being very British then, to be like, oh, Megan. No, but I have so many great things to talk about Megan. And I think the one thing you mentioned there, Marina, is about big feelings. And I think Megan has such a beautiful way of holding the space and holding the room, and everyone feels um like very pushed as a person. And I feel like she can almost see something in you that's like, go further, go do more. But also when we have these big emotions, being safe and held, and I mean the group we have are also very gracious with that, but Meghan being the core of that has been beautiful. And I one thing that I wanted to mention was like I had the privilege of coming to TKS in person and seeing and like shadowing a class of Meghan's and seeing in person, and obviously being online. And I think, you know, initially there might be a hesitation to be like, well, how is Meghan such an amazing teacher when you're online? You've only got this box. And I think there's something so beautiful about it, because like Meghan picks up on everything. And like you're such a brilliant director, Meghan, because and teacher, just because you know you can push us even when we're not physically in the same space. And I think I've never worked with a director where, and I don't know if it's just a Meisner directing style, but you know, it's like everything. We're just like we're picking up on it. We're picking up on it. And like similar to Brea was saying, there's the beauty of like I'm an actor who loves notes, so this for me is like dreamland. And sometimes it can be quite frustrating, but obviously it's like, yeah, I can do more. I can do more, and I'm constantly always coming out of class with like a page full of notes to be like, yep, I can. Yes, I'm getting notes to push me further, but I never feel like negative. It's always like, yeah, I've got this, we can do this together. So yeah, Meghan's such a powerful teacher to lead you through. So yeah, she's awesome.
I love that. Thank you, Sophie. And yes, Megan also teaches in-person conservatory and intensives as well. So if you have fallen in love in this session and you want to be in person in New York, that is also an option. So now before and this I didn't tell y'all that I was going to do this before when we huddled, but I do want to give an opportunity for folks to ask questions in the room if they have them, no pressure. And after that, we'll try a little repetition. So, any one of our guests, if you have a question, yeah, Elena, are you raising your hand or just okay? Go for it.
Oh, I have so many questions. Let's see. I guess I'll start with the one for the speakers. So basically, can you tell us a little bit about your acting background before you took the classes, and like I know, Sophie, you said you do it as a profession, but can you tell us a little bit more? And even though I understand the exercises because I read Esper's book and I've been following, um, I mean, but I'd like to integrate that. So even in the first year, and even if we don't do scene work, do you feel if you're a working actor or you're, you know, actively auditioning that you can feel that you can you know, integrate that intuitively before you even get to level 2? I have
Yeah,
more questions, but those are the first
go
ones.
for it. Sophie and Brea, you're welcome to answer.
Me.
Go ahead, Sophie.
Yeah, so for me, I graduated my first training in 20 like in a different drama school in UK in 2018, and then I started professionally working since 2021 basically. So a range from theatre and film, and I also like make my own films now and produce things as well, but like a wide range of like commercials and theatre shows and immersive shows and live art and clowning and then like film, indie films, mainly indie films to be fair. So yeah, I a wide range of stuff. And I think for me, obviously with time zone differences, for me classes were in the evening, but even when I was in, obviously I came over to New York and it was New York time, which is what you'd get over there. I was still able to you know to still work as and earn money and do my normal jobs. And I think it kind of immediately integrated into my work as an actor, because when you do this technique, you're immediately asked almost, to ask for your point of view and what your point of view of things are, and also to your partner is the most important person in the room, and like to put your focus on your partner. And Megan will say that a lot, like put your focus on the partner, put your focus on your partner. And I think even like with the first week, immediately I went onto set and I was like, my focus is with you, my focus is with you. So I think it kind of like integrates itself organically from the very, very start. And I think seeing it like building blocks, like the more you do, the higher on the ladder you feel, and the higher, as if you have ladders in you and your core is building, it kind of becomes part of the practice more. And even when I do, like, I mean, you probably do this more in like level 2, but like even when I do monologues and things, I think of the person that I'm speaking to. So imagining if that partner was with me, and like having that mindset of like they are important and who am I speaking to, it really does help. So hopefully that answers some of your question. Yeah.
So, Rhea, did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's pretty much, I agree with everything Sophie was saying. Outside of, my technique started, I didn't really start training professionally until 2018, and I started in North Carolina in a small school called the Actor Studio out there. And then I moved back home after the pandemic, after coming from Atlanta to Vegas, and I did another small school out here. So this is my first time in like a conservatory, because I was one of those kids that was told, acting's not a guaranteed thing. You need a fallback plan. So I never went to school for training. So this is my first time actually professionally taking classes, and this is like my first professional training school. But I can speak to, like Sophie was saying, when I do have auditions and get my sides, my first thing is like, what's my perspective? How do I feel about this? Like, I ask myself those questions, and and it's helped me to put more focus on my scene partner, or the other person in the scene. It's definitely helped me with those auditions, even though I haven't taken second year yet.
Sure. Thank you, Brea. We're getting a lot of great questions in the chat. Jimmy, I will email you about budgeting, affording the program. I think that it's a very like personal, individualized thing, and I'm happy as like the admissions director to like walk people through that and kind of give you some insight to like how that might work. Elena, to your other question about working as an actor while you're in the program. It's a bit of a complicated answer. The shorter, easier answer is like it kind of depends on what the situation is. Like Terry always says, if you get an opportunity that you can't turn down, that will like change your career forever. Like, of course we want you to take that. Like, we don't want you to miss something that will like change your career. Like that's not what we're in the business to do. But if it's going to take you out of training for a while, we would recommend that you pause and then return when you're done with that job. There's a couple other things around it from just the ethos of the work is that like training and performing or working as an actor are two very different muscles and two different parts of your brain. And but they both require like a lot of creative energy. And if you're spending most of your creative energy on working, you won't have much left for training and you won't get as much out of it. So, I think it's a case by case situation. If it's things like, I think Sophie has like kind of an ongoing, immersive theater project that she's been doing for years where she does like these kind of monologues in it. I don't know the whole details of it, Sophie, but I know you've mentioned it and Megan has. That's something that like it works with the schedule. It makes sense. It's how she's paying her bills. Keep doing that. If you get something that's gonna take you out for a week, like we'll work with you. We don't want to say like you can't do this program if you're working, but you do have to make a commitment to this program, and that could mean pausing your career. And if that feels like the right time to do this, then great, do it. If it doesn't, then we can talk about like what other options there might be. And then to your other questions, we do have oh, I thought I saw a question about a payment plan. Maybe I made that up. I think, yeah, we do have payment plans. There is a scholarship for only the in-person conservatory, not for online. We can talk about that if anyone's interested in that. And realistic time commitment. I would say the classes are 2 hours, so that's 4 hours, and then probably another 2 hours of rehearsal a week. So that would be 6 hours. I just couldn't do basic math for a second. And then Terry always says the amount of time that it takes for you to prep an activity is however long it takes for you to feel like this is your best work, which varies dramatically, you know? And so I think that's really up to you, but leave space in your life to do that independent work. Cool. We can talk about these other things. I'll email you. Yeah, Brand, if you want to add while I'm reading these questions.
I just wanted to speak to, I believe it's Ellie's question about, you know, her being jaded about the lack of imagination with the activity. Ellie, I can understand. Not that you're jaded, but like I can understand your frustration with coming up with an activity. But when I tell you Megan is the most like I don't know the word. Like she has helped us expand our creativity to where it's made it easier for us because we all struggled trying to develop and think of activities, especially after a certain period of a time. It was like, okay, what else can I think of? But Megan has helped us so much in just developing and thinking and changing our perspective on how we can approach activities and doing those activities. So I would say, you know, if anything, give them maybe that first session a try, just to give you a little bit of feel for it again, and then go from there. But I definitely understand where you're coming from as far as that. But Megan is great in helping you grow your imagination to where that won't even be a problem for you.
Thank you, Brea. And I think when you say give that first session a try, you mean like the first level of the level one of the intensive, yeah, which is only 18 classes. It's not a huge commitment, you know, that's about 9 weeks. So like I think if you are not sure about the whole year, try that first and see how it feels and then go from there. I do want to take some time to do this repetition exercise. So if you guys have other questions, drop them in the chat. And Megan, we'll do about 5 minutes of this. I know I said like we'll be moved on by 1:45, but like 5 to 7 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to, while I'm doing this, Megan, if you could, I'm gonna spotlight everyone. If you could talk a little bit about what the repetition exercise is and why we start with that.
Yes.
And go from there.
Yeah. So, if you've, oh, I'm spotlit. That's horrible. Sorry, I just saw myself and how upsetting. It's fine. So if you've had any other like performing arts training, you know, or you know, athletic training, things like that, you'll probably familiar with like, where do you start? You start at the beginning. If it's your first piano lesson, like probably class one is not playing Beethoven. It's like, how do I place my hands on the keys? Where's middle C? And perhaps you're getting up to like being able to play a scale, you know, or if it's first day of ballet class, you're like learning the positions. So alongside that ethos is this idea of like, well, okay, what's like the smallest unit of measurement in acting, if we're talking about just what an actor's job is, which is to create behavior and hopefully create truthful and really caused behavior. Then the smallest unit is a moment. And so this repetition exercise is meant to put you in contact with another person, with your partner, to put your attention on them and their behavior, and then bounce it back and forth so that you're able to better listen to what you're getting from them, and gets out of your head as well. So you're not worried about what to say. So what I mean by that is, Sophie and Brea, are you pinned, you two, so you can see just each other and not me?
I will spotlight you so that they can see that.
Get rid of me so that they can do the but great. So they'll be here, and this is how we'll do it online too, is that we'll have your partner in your view here, and then you probably hide yourself so that you're just seeing your partner up on that big screen and you can see all of them there. So the repetition exercise begins with you two just taking each other in, meaning putting your attention on each other, just trying to sort of leave yourself alone and pick up on what's your partner's vibe like? What are you getting from them? It can be a little uncomfortable. It can be a little silly, but just what does that feel like? And then we're going to start super simple. Brea, how about you start just with an observation about Sophie, not even a point of view, just something objective that we can all see, and we'll repeat.
Your shirt is green.
My shirt is green.
Your shirt is green.
My shirt is green.
Your shirt is green.
My shirt is green.
Your shirt is green.
Yes, my shirt is green.
Yes, your shirt is green.
Yes, my shirt is green.
Okay, it's good, you two. It's good. It's good. And then they're going back in time. They're like, oh my God, I'm going back in time. How does this early version of the exercise even work? It's good, you two, but you're going so slow.
Yeah.
Pick up the pace a little bit here, just so you get the ping pong. I want you to be like at the speed of fun here, which means if you're going to get out of your head, you kind of have to be bouncing it back and forth fast enough so that you're not going into your head thinking, oh my God, why am I saying your shirt is green so many times? Initially. So start again, take each other in. Sophie, you start this time, just with an observation about Brea.
Your shirt is oversized.
My shirt is oversized.
Your shirt is oversized.
My shirt is oversized.
Shirt is oversized.
My shirt is oversized.
Your shirt is oversized.
My shirt is oversized.
Your shirt is oversized.
Yes, my shirt is oversized.
Yes, your shirt is oversized.
Yes, my shirt is oversized.
Yes, your shirt is oversized.
Yes, my shirt is oversized.
Yes, your shirt is oversized.
My shirt is oversized.
Yes, your shirt is oversized.
Yes, my shirt is oversized.
Okay, good. Yes. And so look, they've said the same thing the entire time. Your shirt is oversized. Yes, my shirt is oversized. But inside of that, there's a lot of different moments, right? Every time they pass the ball back and forth, there's a different moment, meaning the text really, like the words they're saying your shirt is oversized doesn't really have anything to do with that. Not too much, but they're picking up on each other's behavior. It's in just kind of a simple, gentle way. That's good, you two. Now, I'm going to have you start one more time, and let's sort of see the I'll let you have the rest of the elements of the exercise here, meaning we'll start with a point of view, and then you can change the repetition. You can use all the changes, meaning as you work off of each other's behavior, you can change the repetition as you're caused to off of each other's behavior, off of your point of view, as it piles up, etc. Okay, so take each other in one more time. Brea, you start with a point of view about Sophie. And important here as you're watching through, you all, like, not to plan this, meaning, I see Sophie 3 times a week, speaking for myself, and she's lovely, and I could come up with all kinds of points of view about Sophie, but I'm not like stockpiling them so that when the moment arrives I can just throw one out and not have to risk anything. But what's it like to be here with this person again right now, as I am and as they are, and what are you getting from her? No rush, you two.
You look tired.
I look tired.
You look tired.
I look tired.
You look tired.
I look tired.
You look tired.
I'm not tired.
You're not tired.
I'm not tired.
You're not tired.
How do you feel about the fact that she said you look tired, Sophie?
Amused. I'm amused that you think I'm tired.
You're amused that I think you're tired.
I'm amused that you think I'm tired.
You're amused that I think you're tired.
I'm amused that you think I'm tired.
You're amused that I think you're tired.
I'm amused that you think I'm tired.
You're amused that I think you're tired.
I'm amused that you think I'm tired.
Now you seem aggravated.
Now I seem aggravated.
Now you seem aggravated.
Now I seem aggravated.
Now you seem aggravated.
I'm aggravated.
You're not aggravated.
Oh, I am aggravated.
Oh, you are aggravated.
Oh, I am aggravated.
You are aggravated?
I am aggravated.
You are aggravated.
Okay, good. Brea, how do you feel about what you're getting from Sophie here?
I don't believe her.
She's
Doesn't
Something about
seem aggravated.
uh-huh. Yeah, you're kind of like wanting to challenge her a little bit. Ray's over there like, you look tired. And then everything is just like, yeah, I said it. I said it. I don't know if you're really aggravated. Good, good, good. Good, you too. Okay. Yeah. Marina, we can do a little bit more, but I think that's a good encapsulation if you want to leave it
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, I'd love to see hours more of this, but I think we'll have to pause there for now because we're almost out of time. Thank you both. Bravo. Thank you for sharing the work. Thank you, Megan, for leading. So I'm going to now, am I spotlit? I'm going to spotlight myself and have the same feelings that Megan did. There I am. So I want to close today. I'm going to leave a few minutes after if people have questions. But in case someone wants to get off, I'm going to end today by saying that enrollment is open for this class that will begin most likely September 2nd, maybe push back a week. And the special offer just for you guys, because you came and you spent an hour with us today, is that if you join, we will waive your admin fee, which is $150. And if you do decide to bundle up, you get even additional a greater discount, which is all on our website. I will share that with all of you. You'll get an email from us tomorrow about that. And yes, we can do payment plans. Like you don't have to pay everything at once. We'll break it up. We'll make it work for you. We really want this work to be accessible, and that's why we're bringing it online. And as you can see, it works. And you do need to have Wi-Fi. That is, I think, the most important thing: Wi-Fi and a working computer or tablet, and a working imagination and a willingness to play and to be open and to explore. And if you have those things, then we think you're a good fit for this program. The next step would be to apply online. The application is free. It takes a few minutes. And then we'll be in touch with you about next steps. And I think I didn't say this, but if you want to get that discount of the admin fee, the $150 admin fee being waived, you would need to enroll by August 15th. So you have a couple of weeks to get that in to us. And I'm here if you guys need anything, if you have questions. So with the last 6 minutes, if anyone does need to leave, thank you so much for coming. If others have questions for me, for our students, for Megan, in the last couple of minutes, we are happy to take a few more questions. Let me unspotlight myself so I can see you guys. Feel free to shout out, raise your hand, drop it in the chat. Anyone else before we go? Yeah, Elena.
I have a ton of questions.
Okay.
So what's the difference between admissions for the online versus admissions for the in-person in terms of requirements or like competitive? Because
Yeah.
sometimes the studios like you need to interview and
You
stuff.
you will need to interview. That will be the next step after you apply. Sometimes, if you've given us enough information in your application, for online or intensives, we may not need to interview you. For in person, we always do. And or if you're referred, like if you are like somebody, we know through someone else. There's some exceptions, but typically you apply and then you interview. And I'd say, what we're looking for across the board with all of our programs, are students who have a commitment to excellence. We say we're training the passionate actor committed to excellence. So when I'm talking to you or when I'm reading your application, I'm looking to see that you're really ready to put in the work that's required to be successful in this program. Because if I have someone like you, Elena, who's clearly very dedicated and cares a lot about this, but then there's someone in your class who's like, I'll show up when I feel like it, and I'm gonna hit my pen right before, and like I'll be half there. That sucks. That's not fair to you because you're putting in 100%. So we expect everyone to be doing that as well. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm having admissions conversations. Does that answer your question? Cool.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned with in terms of like if the bar is higher for the in-person, then what does that say about the quality of the? I
Yeah.
mean, I doubt that people are going to make this commitment. It's a big commitment anyway, so I think that already sets the bar.
Yeah, no, the commitment's the same. I mean, the 2 years is a huge commitment, so we need to have like a pretty long conversation to make sure we're on the same page. Before our intensives, which are 6 to 9 weeks, if you were just to join the first intensive and we felt like very good about your application, we knew you, like, I've met you now in this in this setting, I may not need to interview you, but regardless, that's like based on the questions you answer, because the questions you're answering in our application, there are some long form questions, tell us a lot about what kind of student you are and what you're looking for and why you're doing this. And we do say no to students sometimes. I mean, we a lot of time, this is like an example that happens a lot. We get models who really don't want to do this, but their agent wants them to start acting. And they're saying, I will be gone for all of Paris Fashion Week. And like, if I book a gig, like, I'm out. I'm like, hey, I don't think this is for you. Like, if you want to take an acting class, go to like a studio that like lets you sign up for free online. Like, and you show up. This is not what that is. This isn't just showing up. There's a lot of work to be done. And I'm not saying all models are like that, to be fair, but like there are some who, that's a kind of common that's a common thing that happens where their agents want them to do this so they can be a better actor, but they don't want to do it. So we want to make sure that you're doing this for you and that you really understand the commitment that's required. Oh, I see a couple other questions. Oh, awesome. Oh, you were at in Berlin. That's awesome. I'm glad that you got to see Terry work. Beautiful. Anyone else before we wrap up for the day? Any other questions? All right. Well, then with that, Megan and Isabella and Angeline and Brea and Sophie, thank you so much for being here. I will stick around for a couple extra minutes if anyone has any questions just for me. We'll be in touch with next steps, and I hope to see you guys either online or in person soon. Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all. Great to see your faces.
You, Marina,
Yes,
can I ask more another question?
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm happy to
Um,
linger, Marina, too. If y'all have got questions too, I'm
thank you.
free to answer.
Thanks, Megan. I appreciate you.
So the pathway, so this would be the first year, and then the second year would definitely have to be in person. And is this a thing like that people are wanting to study with Terry like how does that, I don't know how that,
Yeah, I mean,
like, is
I think
that like a
people.
pathway to it?
There people want to study with Terry. There's people who want to do the training, like they want to do the Meisner work. There's people who specifically want to train here because their favorite actor, trained with us. I think there's a lot of different reasons and like different people that people want to train with. Um, there could be an opportunity to work with Terry in your second year. It's really about like how many spots are open. Like we will make sure there's a spot for you in the second year, but we can't guarantee that it will be with Terry. But if you're working with Megan or Celestine, who's our other teacher, I will say Terry is very, very selective about who teaches here. You have to shadow him for the full 2 years before teaching the work here. And I get at least 4 emails a month from teachers who want to teach at the studio. And Terry he has to know them, he has to really trust them. So it's like as close to working with Terry as you can get is working with these other teachers. And they're all doing the same work. Like the Meisner work is, we take it really seriously, and we're not doing it like, I mean, I think there's other studios. I've heard students say like, yeah, I did Meisner and like we started with impediments, and I'm like, what? That's so weird. I don't know why you would do that. We're doing it very true to form. So if Megan is subbing a class for Terry and it's class 27, she knows where they are and they'll connect and find out what needs to be done. But it's very easy to copy and paste. And I think and Isabella, who's going to be beginning to teach with us, who's been doing the shadowing for the past year, I think there's a universality, is that a word, of like our teachers and the quality of the teaching that you'll be getting at the studio. And I know you met Terry in Berlin, and like Terry's available. Like Megan just had a student finish her intensive who wanted to have a meeting with Terry. That's easy to do. Like he's there and he's available to students, whether you're his
So,
student specifically or not.
and you said that the in-person students can take online class. So would you be able to do the opposite, like visit if you're back in New York? Because I'm in Berlin mostly, but obviously
Mhm.
I'll go back to New York for work, and that's where that's where I work local. Um, So yeah, would we be able to go? And I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
can
I mean,
always
because I
come
think
and visit.
you can't audit, right? Like that's not.
If you're a student in the program, in the online program, like you can come and sit in on a class. Like we don't let
Oh,
people off the street on it, because that gets tricky and like it becomes bloated and like that's we have open houses for a reason. Like we do this in person. But if you were in the online intensive and you're like, hey, I'm in New York for a week, can I sit through classes? Like totally, we'd love to have you. Um, and yeah, I mean the I think what you were referring to before is like you can start with the in-person intensive and then finish the year online, like when you said you're starting in person and then going online. But yeah,
they said at the beginning.
the second year's just it's I mean it's not just scene work. It's primarily scene work and like sure it can be done online, but Terry doesn't quite feel as confident with like the level of intimacy required to really like get into the work. He doesn't feel like it's as good online and he doesn't want to do anything that isn't excellent. And we feel like this online work the first year, it's just it's pretty much like he'd say it's like if in person's 100%, this is 99% only because you can't physically touch one another. But that's the only thing. Everything else is really the same.
Yeah, I agree. I miss the online, I mean, in-person classes, but I do, so I don't normally take scene work online, but I do take work that is okay for
Yeah.
online format, which I think this is. So I'm glad that you explained how it's done. And because I've
Yeah.
been dying to take Meisner for years and years and years. But like in
Now's the
San
time.
Francisco, there was a conservatory and like they wanted you to commit for not working. And then
Yeah.
I was looking at Esper. I was like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. So I've been looking for a little way to get in a way for years. So I read the book and things like that. And I'm familiar with the stuff, but like not having done it enough to be
Yeah.
like, did I do it okay? And also to get out of my head, you
Totally. I
know?
think this is a great way to do that. I hope that you'll join us.
Oh, and
Thank you
then
so
just a quick question about
much.
the October start. You said that
Yeah.
there might be an October contingent. And do you know yet what the dates, the days and times would be for that
Yeah.
one?
You do. I don't have it on the top of my head, but I'll send that in the follow-up email.
Perfect. Thank
Um,
you for,
Thank you so much, Elena. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all your thoughtful questions as well.
I have so many.
Email me. I'm here. I'm here. I'm available.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Julie, did you have a question?
No, I just stayed here to listen
Oh,
to
I love
you.
that. I love
Yes, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very
Thank you,
useful.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Terry's doing a free online masterclass September 4th as well, which we'll put in the follow-up if you want to, see what happens in this work much later. It's going to be like scene work, kind of like the end of the 2 years. So you guys stuck around, so I'll share that with you as well. But yeah, thank you so much. Elena, do you have any other burning questions before I let you go?
Oh yeah, I just thought of one. What's the max on the like how many people are going to be in class max? You
I
know,
think,
or is there?
yeah, well, so we had like an more intimate group this year because it was the first time. So we haven't really faced that yet. The max of in person is 20. I think that would be too much online. I would probably say, and Megan, maybe what do you think about like 14, 16?
Yeah, I think with a 2 hour cap
Yeah.
to like that is um yeah, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
more than 16.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think yeah, because the timing of the class or the amount, the length of class is dependent on how many people are in it. But online is hard for more than 2 hours, like staring at a screen. So we do cut it at that. In person, 2 hours would be for 14, I believe. Is it 12 or 14?
no,
Is it less than that?
12, 10 to 12.
12?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah,
12 max for two
yeah.
hours in person.
But
Because
because
Elena, you're right. Everyone will work every class.
Yeah, everyone works every class because there's a little things are a little bit quicker online because you don't need to like set up the room and I think we can extend that a little bit, but I would say it's probably not going to be more than 14. it's something crazy would have to have this, we'd have to go viral because we're our in-person classes. We've been doing this for a long time, so people know that we do that. We're still kind of new to this online acting class market. So, it will be intimate. Like I would love to get a class of 10 this time. That's like that means five pairs are working every class. Yeah.
Sorry if you.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm happy that you're here and you have questions. This is for Meisner. Like, yeah, I don't know who else does this the way we do. I mean, I don't know if Meisner is looking down and being like, you can't do this online, but I think we're pretty, Terry's from the Meisner lineage and like he's very strict about like quality of the work and like I think for a long time he didn't want to. I think pre-pandemic he would have said absolutely not. But he did it during the pandemic and it worked really well. And so as long as you have good Wi-Fi, like I said, I think that's a really big part of it. Like you have to have good Wi-Fi and you have to have a, working device and be somewhere like quiet. But yeah, I mean, Sophie was traveling. If you're in New York, like we usually can make a space for you to do it with us in the studio. You can do there online. But yeah, we think
the general thing is like if you have enough space to like do a yoga class, you definitely have enough space to do Meisner online.
Oh, Megan. Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you. Book a conversation with me if you want to chat more. And you'll get an email from us tomorrow. All right.
Awesome.
Have a good one.